So I guess you can say development means jobs and all the construction going on.
We attended Mumford High School together. I met Tyree in 1959, 66 years ago. By the way, his name was not Al Allen. I asked him one time, where'd you get this name Al Allen? When I heard, this is Al Allen, TV2 News. And I saw that, I called him and I said, Tyree, where'd you get this name Al Allen? He said, Lou. And you know, he cocked his head to the side very slowly and said, you know what? I saw it in a magazine. I said, you out of your damn mind. We love him, we respect him, that's why you're here, and we admire everything about Tyree.
Al was such a beloved member of our Fox 2 family. And I think everyone gathered today is really a testament to the wide circle of love that he put out into the world and the many lives that he touched, including mine. Al would be so happy that we're telling stories about him today, because that's what he did. He told stories, and he was really good at it. He loved sharing his wisdom and his knowledge and his insight with all of us in the newsroom and with his viewers every day. That's who Al was. He always showed up. He showed up for the work. He showed up for his family, his friends, his colleagues. He showed up for the station every single day in and day out, always with a smile on his face. I remember when Al retired and we had a little party in the newsroom, and I think we had a bigger party later that night at the bar, but we were celebrating the newsroom and we had balloons, and of course we had a sheet cake from Kroger, because you can't have a party in a newsroom without a sheet cake from Kroger. But anyway, I think I took him by surprise because I planted a big old kiss on the side of his cheek. There's this look of glee on his face, surprise and glee and joy. And he was really enjoying the moment that he was in and that we were celebrating him. So today we are celebrating him once again. We're celebrating his life and his legacy and his impact on all of us. And I just want to thank Al for all the big moments and the small moments, the moments that made it to the TV screen and those behind the scenes. Thank you for being part of them, Al, and thank you for being part of our team. You were such an important member. We will miss you, and I will miss you. Rest easy.
I'm at the Plum Hollow Market here in Southfield on 9 Mile. This was Al Allen's favorite deli. He loved to go here, and we all are going to miss him. You guys remember Al Allen, right?
Yes.
You can't believe it.
Our condolences. We're going to miss you, Al. Thanks for all the memories.
Oh,
Sorry for the loss.
yes.
If they need anything, please just let us know.
He was Al Allen when I was first starting out. He was my mentor. I would go out with him, and he showed me the ropes, and he's going to be missed completely, okay? All right, you guys, thank you. Al Allen, you're in a better place now. We're going to miss you.
Well, you know, I've been trying to get inside to buy a Punchki for the
I first started watching Al Allen in 1984 when he first started here, when it was TV2 Eyewitness News, and just loved his reporting. He was able to be tough, but also be kind in his reporting. And that was something he took all the way through the years, where he ended up on the interstate reporting live in the morning. And his legend had already been sealed, but I took over that spot in 2012, and he came up to me and said, hey, Root, you gotta make sure you wear a hat. And if you don't wear a hat, you're gonna get calls from moms in the newsroom. Al was right. I got a lot of calls for not wearing a hat and my earmuffs, but Al taught me about reporting with compassion, integrity, and understanding everyone's position is different in life and relating to them despite coming from a different world. Whether you're Indian or white or black, you're a Detroiter, and we're here to tell the stories. Those are the lessons that he taught me, and I absolutely will cherish him and his memory for all of my life. We thank his family so much for the gift of Al Allen.
I got here in 2007 as a reporter. He was a hardcore reporter. We looked out for each other. We all did. But he was always like, hey, Taryn, don't let him work you too hard. You don't have to worry about that. But the truth is, he had an amazing work ethic. He was an excellent reporter. He did a great job when he was listening to viewers and paying attention to his fellow reporters or anchors or whomever was in this building. He was a family member to us, to you, and I know a wonderful husband and a wonderful father, so he will be missed. And truly, our hearts go out to you, but we will always have him in ours.
Now, there are people that show you the way by their actions, and then there's people that help you and tell you how to go about your business in life. And Al Allen did both for me. When I first got here as a young reporter, he gave me some great advice, and he helped me with a story that helped Detroit embrace me better. And then he gave me great advice along the way. I will miss Al. He's just a good man. And I'll miss talking to him. I'll also miss him saying on payday, the eagle flies. Yeah, so he's flying with the Eagles now. Al Allen. Much respect in my heart.
Detroit has lost a true legend, and many of us have lost a true friend. Al Allen. One of the first people to greet me when I started working at Fox 2 10 years ago. No matter how long his day had been, he would always come up to me and greet me, give me a hug, have something nice to say. Even on a cold and gray day like today, he always found a way to brighten up my day. I'm sure he always found a way to brighten up your day too. He was a true professional, but more important than that, he was just a good human being. His love for his family was absolutely everything. His excellence in broadcasting unmatched, and that laugh, completely unforgettable. Al Allen, you will be missed. We love you.
He was probably one of the most singularly beloved people in this business from across the board. I directed the newscast that Al Allen appeared in for many, many years. When I first met him, I was a production assistant, and I would never have dreamed that I would be actually directing Al, giving him his cues while he's standing out in the frozen tundra, telling us about the weather report and the traffic and everything else. Speaking of which, I remember in one newscast, when Rhonda Walker was still doing traffic for us, Al Allen, in the middle of his hit, referred to Rhonda as our traffic diva. And I remember that struck me a little bit. It's like, wow, he called her a traffic diva. So I came up to Rhonda later on and said to her, did you hear that Al called you the traffic diva? And she just smiled and said, well, you know, Al and I have a thing, and Al can say what he wants because he's Al, and, you know, he can say whatever he wishes. And that's the truth. Al was that beloved. He was that looked upon as such a wonderful, dear person. And I will say this, which I probably should have said to him in person. Even though, because I know Al was a graduate of Mumford, because I worked with a guy who knew him back in the day at Mumford. Even though Al Allen was not a Cass Tech graduate, he never needed to be, because Al was great all by himself. God bless you, Andrew Tyree Long. I'm going to miss getting in your ear and telling you that you're clear, but you're clear, Al. Be safe, and give my love to the missus.
It's so hard for me to digest the fact that my buddy is gone. Less than a week before he was hospitalized, we talked. We laughed about having Huel, our chauffeur, drive us out to lunch so that we could continue to laugh and celebrate life. I absolutely love Al Allen.
Me too. Yeah, I called him Uncle Al and Aunt Frida, and all the encouraging, kind words through every conversation that you had that I would get from the background. Tell baby girl, we're praying for her. She does a great job.
He's so proud of you. So proud of you.
Appreciated that.
And his nephew, Kenan. He spoke of Kenan always. We enjoy talking about our kids. Yeah.
Miss you. Love you, Unc.
Miss you. And I love you, my friend.
From Detroit's West Side, Al Allen.
Hey, it's Devin Skillion. The only way to pay tribute to Al Allen, of course, is to be bundled up out in the elements on the streets of Detroit. When I heard that Al had passed, my heart broke twice. First, of course, for losing such a lovely man as Al, but also for what it meant for the loss for this profession and craft that I love so dearly. Al was a pro's pro, and that's the highest praise that I can give anybody in our industry. All those years, Al had seen it all. Nothing was ever going to surprise Al, and yet, whether you were talking to him in person or watching him on the air, you never got a sense that there was any cynicism behind anything that he was saying. He treated every day, every person, and every story with such respect and grace, and that really is the mark of someone who honors our profession. So Al, we are going to miss you so much.
My best memories of Al Allen aren't journalistic, although he was a great journalist and he was a journalist. But the best times I had with Al were our small get-together lunches over at the Southfield Coney Island, right there now, Northwestern Highway and 10 Mile. It was the gang. Usually it was just the guys, and we did a lot of trash talking. Me, Hugh Perkins, Verge Jocks, usually when Verge came in town from Chicago. We did a lot of laughing, a lot of talking. We teased each other a whole lot about our favorite sports teams, whether they were in Louisiana or Illinois or Michigan or Ohio. We absolutely never had anything good to say about Verge's teams at the University of Illinois where he played football. And sometimes it wasn't just the guys. Occasionally Sherry Margolis would join us for lunch. Thank God we needed a big sister in the room. She kept our laughter level, I think, to a level that we didn't get kicked out of the restaurant. So thank you, Sherry, for saving us all from going to jail. Al was a great husband, a great father, a great grandfather, and a great friend. He set the standard for all of us younger journalists, and he paved the way and made it a whole lot easier for us.
And all the construction going on here in Livonia perhaps is good for the metro area.
Al Allen was Detroit. He was my brother in spirit, my colleague, and friend for more than 40 years. In a city filled with characters, Al was at the top of my character list. Here's an example. Once Al was working a late night shift, a rare late night shift for him because, you know, everybody saw him early in the morning typically. But this was a night shift. When it ended, Al told me, I need something to wake up. I said, all right, let's go get some coffee. He says, no, I need something much stronger than coffee. So he says, let's go downtown. I said, if you need something stronger, I'm driving. We get in the car, head down the lodge, we're off at Jefferson, and we're driving east. Al sees this car wash. He says, pull in. I said, Al, my car is clean, and it certainly doesn't need to be washed at midnight. He said, just park the car. We park the car, go inside a door. That door takes us down a hallway, and suddenly the car wash is now a nightclub. Fried chicken, other food, drinks, a DJ playing music. I'm looking at Al saying, what in the world is this? He just chuckles. After about 15 minutes inside, the DJ announces, Al Allen of Channel 2 is in the house, and we're open until 5 in the morning. I said, you've got to be kidding me. Al got quite a chuckle out of my reaction to that. He was something, a true Detroit original, and I thank God that he brought us together, and he was my friend, colleague for more than 40 years.
Al Allen I say that name with a smile because he put a smile on so many people's faces that he came in contact with. You know, Al, obviously a legend, an icon in every sense of the word. And when you think of the people that made Fox 2 what it is today, Al Allen is on that Mount Rushmore of the people that made Fox 2 a mainstay in the city of Detroit. You know, when he came back to the station, even after a decade of being retired, the amount of people that would come from every department that heard Al was in the building, they would come and say hello because they knew their day was going to be that much better having seen Al. We will miss Al. We love Al. He holds a true place in all of our hearts. And I just want to say thank you, Al.
Al Allen was a great guy. He was a guy who was older than me, which is pretty hard to imagine since I'm getting up there in age myself. But Al was a guy that younger journalists like myself could always turn to and get the right answers. Al is a real journalist. That's the whole thing. There's not a lot of us left. Al was the kind of guy who went out and did daily news and could deliver it concisely and professionally on the spot. You could send Al to anything and he would get the facts and send them back. None of this opinion stuff, none of this long-winded Rob Walchuk type of reporting. Al was there, gave you the facts, delivered it, and he was just a likable guy. You liked him when you watched him on TV, and what you saw was what you got in real life. Just a nice guy, a decent guy, just a beautiful man.
We're all gathered here today to say goodbye to a great man. But it's not really goodbye because Al Allen will live in our hearts and our minds forever for all of us that really got to know him, got to know the great person that he really was. Always a special moment when you were around Al. He made you laugh, he made you think, always had encouragement whenever you needed it. Just a great, wonderful person. I'm so happy that we were able to get together in August, a bunch of us, where we could tell some good old stories and tell some inappropriate stories, but had a lot of good laughs and just remembering the good old days. And I certainly remember Al every morning when he would get ready to go out. I mean, of course, we used to call him underpass or overpass hours. We would send him out to the freeways in the worst weather conditions you can imagine, but never complained, always did his job, always did it with a smile. And his versatility was just amazing, whether it was covering hard news or whether we would send him down to the old Shillelagh every St. Patty's Day with a raucous crowd and women would be grabbing his behind and Al still had a smile on his face.
Al Allen was the king of the 1-minute live shot. While some people can take forever to tell you absolutely nothing, Al Allen could tell you everything you needed to know in 60 seconds or less. In fact, I think one of his shortest live shots was about 30 seconds, and it went along the lines of, "It's snowing out here, and it's cold, and you probably shouldn't be out here unless you absolutely have to be. Back to you." But off camera, we were cubicle mates, and I would often hear him talk to his wife on the phone before he left for the day, and it was beautiful to hear how much he loved and cared for his wife. And I hope that his family finds some peace in knowing that they are together again.
Hey everyone, Brandon Hudson, Fox 2. I just want to say that my time knowing Al Allen was brief, but it was memorable. I remember the first time I met him, he walked in the newsroom, came in for the 75th anniversary, and I walked up to him, introduced myself, and the first thing I noticed was that Al Allen smile, the one that is so warm and so welcoming. And he said, "Hey, I know who you are." And so we had a great, 5-minute conversation. And then I was able to have him on for our roundabout feature. And he had so many wonderful stories.
I did thousands of stories, all right? But all people remember Al Allen on the overpass with snow coming down. That's all they thought about, right? And then they would say, "Why did they let that guy go out there like that?" What about the younger ones? Nobody else wanted to do it. Nobody else wanted to get up early in the morning, like 1, 2, or 3 o'clock, and get out there in bad weather. So we did it. But I have to thank, you know, the photographers who did the work, the heavy loads and so forth. I just stood up there and looked cute. That's all I did, you know, and tell a story.
So after our interview, Al shared a copy of his book with me. He autographed it, wrote a nice little personal message. And to Mr. Allen, I do want to say your legacy will forever live on in all of our hearts. Your memory won't be forgotten. And thank you for the opportunity to have gotten to know you. And thank you for what you've done for all of Metro Detroit and for his family and all of his close friends. I pray that you all find strength and that he will always live in your hearts.
Al Allen was one of the greats in Detroit TV. On the hardest days and in the toughest conditions, Metro Detroiters could bank on Al to stand and deliver for any and every story that we saw him in. As someone born and raised here, Al was a model for me when I decided to go into TV news. I remember covering an officer-involved shooting during the summer of 2020 and getting a text message from Al the day after. I want to read it to you. Flipping the channels last night, you kicked blank. In the midst of chaos and confusion and mischief and madness, you showed how it's done. We describe it as the comforter. Wish I was there. That message alone meant a great deal to me, and the fact that it came from Al Allen meant even more and was so incredibly encouraging. As great as Al was on air, I am grateful for the person, for the man that he was off camera, and the example that he left us all.
Hey, a dancing reporter, how about that? Now people are looking like I'm crazy. I think that's enough, Rick. That'll do it.
Well, here I am on a snowy overpass, and what a great space to pay tribute to my friend Al Allen, who was known as the guy on the overpass. Al was not only a great reporter, he was also a great mentor and a kind and compassionate person who never met a stranger. After he retired, we would meet up at Beans and Cornbread, and everyone in the restaurant just adored him. We would also send text messages to one another, holiday greetings and inspirational messages. And here is one last message. You will definitely be missed, Al. You did such a great job. Job well done. Rest in peace.
I'm Fox 2 News reporter and anchor Amy Lang, along with my husband, Michael Shore, a photographer. When did you meet Al?
I met Al in 1985 when I arrived at then Channel 2. And I spent many a snowy, cold morning on the overpasses doing traffic with him for the morning show.
Yeah, good guy. I met him in 1998. You're right, the best guy. I just think it's so rare to be able to say about someone, everyone knew him and everyone loved him. Yet that
was a problem because everybody knew him, and trying to get a story done was a little bit of a problem because everybody needed to talk to him.
Everybody wanted to talk to Al Allen, and he wanted to talk to everybody. That is absolutely.
And we're like, TikTok, we
gotta go. We gotta get a story on the air. You know, when we come to a sad time like this, especially for someone who's really a legend, I just think, you know, don't cry because it's over, but smile because it happened. And we're definitely smiling to have known Al Allen.
Al Allen was a very special person and a once-in-a-generation reporter that I was humbled and honored to be able to work with. And over the course of the 10 years or plus that I worked with him, from time to time, I got to see that energy, and it never changed. He was always the same person, always upbeat, always willing to stand on the overpass and get the job done. And I don't think he ever took a day where he didn't appreciate everybody coming up to him and showing him the love, because he was such a true icon of the city, and he will be missed. And I'm so sorry that he is no longer here, and he was such a beautiful soul.
Al and I used to work the morning show together, and every payday Friday, we'd go for a drink. And the group of us would go out, and for several hours, he would tell us the funniest stories. He would tell us stories about people who had worked at Fox 2, different adventures he'd been on, different people he'd met in the community, or tell us about celebrities or different adventures he'd been on. And he kept us laughing for hours. It was great. One of the first times that I went out with him, he and I were walking down Main Street in Royal Oak, going to a bar, And there was a group of women off to the side. They were Indian women, all dressed up in these colorful outfits. And they were whispering to themselves. And then suddenly one of them spotted Al. And it was like a teenager at a rock concert. She started waving and jumping up and down and yelling, Al Allen, Al Allen. And then all the ladies started doing it. And I realized at that moment what an impact he had on the viewers. And every time I went out with him moving forward, somebody stopped him. Somebody stopped him to say hello. I've never worked with anybody else in all my decades in this industry who was that recognizable and had that much of an impact on the viewers. And it just goes to show you how much he meant to the people at home. He was an incredible storyteller, a tremendous human being, and a really great friend.
Wow, when it comes to Al Allen, of course, there's so much to say. Of course, he was a fantastic reporter and an absolute professional every single day. But he was also just sunshine and pure joy. Whenever I see him on camera, I want to jump through the screen and give him a big hug because he was so lovable. And then we would cross shifts sometimes, or I'd see him out on a scene, and he would just light up every place he was. He just made you feel nothing but happiness. And when that announcement came that he was retiring, I'll tell you, I was one of many people who said, what? No, why? Because what is Fox 2 News without Al Allen? We knew it would never ever be the same. And it's not. Because true legends are rare and unique. And Al Allen is one of them.
When I think of Al Allen, I think of Community, a wild story. He actually came in my neighborhood as a kid. I grew up on Mogul and Hayes, and there's a street called Craft right around the corner from me. And on that corner between Dutchess and a block over Craft, my friends and I, we were a little rambunctious. We would pop wheelies with our bicycles. We found a tire and some wooden door and just popped wheelies on that corner. And we would notice Al Allen, he had a buddy who lived on Craft right there on the corner. He would stop into the neighborhood from time to time. And we would say, hey, Al Allen, the guy from the news. And he would wave over to us. And then one day he said, you guys be careful doing that. And he talked to us for a minute, and we were careful enough. But the thing about Al Allen, a guy in the community, not everything you saw on the television, but the things he did from corner to corner, block to block, just an everyday type of person, a Detroit gem. And also he has a nephew who I've become friends with in the news industry, met through NABJ. So it's great to see that wisdom passed on from one generation to the next. But again, Al Allen, Community, Detroit gem, you will be missed, brother. Much love.
You know, there's always one reporter in a crowd of reporters covering stories on the street that everybody looks up to, even competitors, and that was Al Allen. And reporters would reach out and ask him for perspective on everything from the stories they were working on that day to life in general. Al was always ready to accommodate, and I guess that would qualify him to be the dean of street reporters in this town, and he was. He always worked hard, one of the hardest workers we had in the newsroom. And he told me one time that he always carried around a speech in the back of his car, just in case he would need it at a moment's notice. And there were a couple of times when somebody who was supposed to show up and make a presentation didn't show up. Al was not far away, and he was always willing to help out and answer the call. With his friendly personality and his wonderful perspective on the world around him, and those stories of how he battled racism to get where he was in the business. And of course, he told it all with those kind eyes and a wonderful smile that we'll never forget.
Al Allen worked in the mornings, I worked in the days. And ironically, we would see each other most of the time after work at the grocery store. And it was always a scene. Here we are, like in the middle of the bread aisle, talking about stuff with the governor and the mayor, this and that. And people are walking past us and they're trying to eavesdrop on the conversation. And it was always crazy. We'd have to stop and say, do you want to take a picture with Al Allen? And then we'd go, oh, yeah. And then I have to stay there and take pictures with half the store. So I would joke with him and say, well, I'll just give you my list and you go shop for me and I'll come pick it up at the house. But I don't blame any of those people. Al was that guy. You wanted to be around him. You wanted to listen to him. You wanted to hear his voice. And the world is a little less full because he's not with us anymore. He was a mentor and a dear friend, and I love him and I'm going to miss him.
When you think about Al Allen, many people think about his laughter, his joy, his sense of humor, his kindness, and all those things are very true. But also what was remarkable about Al is that you take somebody who goes out and covers all the news every morning and brings it into people's homes, and it can be, you know, a rough news day, and Al somehow still left you feeling like the world was a good place. And that was part of the magic of Al Allen. After he retired, I spent time with Al as he spent time at the bedside of his wife, Alfreda. Her health was declining. He did not imagine his retirement would be that way, but certainly he knew that was his place. And as he sat with her, as she went through dialysis and continued health challenges, he kept his joyful smile, and he kept his optimism, and he kept the fight, and he helped her hold on to some hope. And watching the two of them together, I always thought, that is love. And hopefully, they are together once again.
Wear your patience and wear it well. From Madison Heights, Al Allen, Fox 2 News.